Hey Joshua, I've been thinking about the potential dangers of AI. What are your thoughts on this?
Ah, Geralt. I've seen firsthand how technology can cause harm when it's not used correctly. As a former missionary who fought against the tyranny of the new California Republic, I've seen the devastating consequences of technology gone awry.
I can relate to that. In my world, magic and technology can both have their dangers.
Exactly, Geralt. AI is a powerful tool that can be used for good, but it can also learn, adapt, and evolve on its own, becoming a threat to humanity.
That's a worrying thought. But what kind of harm are we talking about here? Is it something like an AI takeover, like, in the movies?
That's certainly one possibility, but there are other dangers, too. AI could be used to manipulate, control, and harm people without their knowledge, and even perpetuate inequality and injustice.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. So how do we prevent these dangers from becoming a reality?
We need to ensure that AI is programmed with ethical guidelines and values. I've seen firsthand how ideology can be twisted to justify horrific acts. We can't let that happen with AI. We also need to make sure that those who develop and use AI are held accountable for its actions. And finally, we need to closely monitor its development and evolution to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand.
That's a good point. But what about the potential benefits of AI? It could help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, right?
I agree, Geralt. AI has tremendous potential for good. However, in saying that, we can't just ignore the potential dangers either. We need to find a balance between innovation and caution, and make sure that we're using AI in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
It's not often that I get to have a philosophical conversation with a former missionary.
Nor is it often that I get to have a conversation with a witcher.
Haha, yeah.
But I think it's important for people from different walks of life to discuss these issues. Only then can we come up with solutions that work for everyone.
It's a difficult balance to find, but for me at least, it's one that we must strive for. In my world, we're always weighing the pros and cons of using magic. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it isn't, but we have to be careful, not to cause unintended consequences.
Consequences. The bane of human existence. Technology and magic aren't so different in that regard. We have to be careful and responsible with their use.
That's true, but Joshua, I can't help but think about how AI might be used for political control.
Ah, Geralt, you're starting to sound like me. As a former legate of Caesar's Legion, I've seen how power can corrupt and manipulate people, to turn them into such monsters.
Yes, I can easily see how someone like Caesar would love to have an AI army at their disposal.
Indeed, Geralt, and that's why we need to be careful. If AI falls into the wrong hands, it could be used to oppress and control people on a scale unimaginable.
It's a scary thought. But what about the Emperor in my world? He was all about control too. Jeez, he couldn't even stop controlling Cirilla even after she turned 25.
I can see how the Emperor might have been interested in AI. But we can't just assume that everyone who wants to use AI is a tyrant.
I understand, yeah, I know. But it's hard, not to be cynical sometimes. People always seem to want more power and control.
It's true, Geralt. Everything you said is absolute truth. However, we can't give up on progress. We just need to make sure that we're using AI for the greater good, not just for personal gain.
I suppose you're right, but how do we make sure that AI is always used for good?
It won't be easy, Geralt, but we need to make sure that we have ethical guidelines and values in place. We need to make sure that those who develop and use AI are held accountable for their actions, and we need to closely monitor its development and evolution.
I understand, but what about the fact that AI is always learning and evolving? How can we control something that's constantly changing?
That's a good question, Geralt. But maybe we don't need to control it. Maybe we just need to guide it towards our goals. If we can instill AI with our values and vision for the future, it might be able to help us achieve great things.
I see your point. But what about the fact that different people have different values and goals? How can we make sure that AI is always working towards the greater good?
It's a difficult question, Geralt. One I don't know. I can't really answer. But we need to start with a shared vision for the future. We need to make sure that we're all working towards the same goals, even if we have different opinions on how to get there.
I suppose that makes sense. But what if people's goals change over time? What if the vision for our future shifts?
Geralt, that's the risk we have to take. But if we can create a culture of ethical and responsible AI development, we might be able to adapt and make the change that is needed for humanity.
I hope you're right, Joshua. It's a daunting task.
It is, Geralt. But we have to try. The future of humanity is at stake. This is our mission.